Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom, yes, reaction. As you see by the title below, this is On Another World of Remnant of RWBY Volume 4. And yes, this one I am definitely excited for. Now there's one thing I always say about World of Remnants. It's like, sure, they may not be like what I really want. I always want a new chapter of RWBY to come out. I always want to see that right after, and having to wait a week to 2 weeks to see the next one is always frustrating. But I will not lie, I definitely do get excited for these World of Remnants. There's one thing that I always love to learn about, and it is the lore of these different universes, different worlds. Whenever it comes to playing a video game, watching a movie, watching an animated series, I always want to learn about the lore. And not everyone is lucky enough to have something like RWBY where they actually give out these videos with lore in them. A lot of games, a lot of movies, a lot of anime series, they don't always do that. So I am grateful for that for sure. So every time I do see a World of Remnant, I am excited for it. It's just, obviously I'm not as excited for like when I see a new chapter. But this one in particular, I am definitely excited for, considering it is on the Great War, to which that's one history that I've always wanted to learn about whenever we hear about it in RWBY and everything. And literally, when I saw that this one was on the Great War, I was like, holy crap, I have to watch this one for sure, And literally, I'm just so hyped to see what they're going to be talking about the Great War. It's going to be something crazy, obviously. It's literally like, I guess you would say, our world, world war. It's a world war for this, for Remnant, for RWBY, with Grimm along the side too. I've always wondered how that is and everything. So yeah, I just want to watch it already. So without further ado, let's start this up in 3, 2, 1, go. RWBY, World of Remnant. The Great War. I should be like an announcer kind of guy, or the storytelling voice actor. Oh, sorry.
What a terrible name for such a horrible time in history.
That's true. Just like World War I for us.
Though the war itself
the Great War
lasted
as well.
around 10 years. The century leading up to it was filled with so much
10
tension.
years.
You might as
Damn.
well lump them together. And most of that tension was coming from Mistral. Territories rich with resources and safe from Grimm have always been in high demand. But the Emperor of Mistral had managed to conquer nearly all that Anima had to offer, thanks in part to an unlikely friend,
Mantle. Yep.
The two kingdoms had
Atlas.
formed an alliance. Mistral provided the small kingdom with goods unavailable in the frozen tundra.
That's
In
probably
return,
a lot of stuff.
Mantle introduced technological innovation as well as guidance in the settlement of Anima's cold northern territory.
Yeah. Seems like a
It
good
was
deal.
good, until it wasn't. An incident in Mantle led to a strange and unexpected decree: the abolishment of the arts and repression of self-expression. The people of Mantle had come to believe that they would be much safer from the Grimm if they could simply keep the emotions of the masses in check. Given Mistral's strong artistic culture,
that just makes people
many assumed this would be
emotionless.
the end of their alliance. But they were wrong. Mistral complied, selectively, enforcing Mantle's wishes only in the outer territories, allowing the centralized powers to continue to live as they please.
That's so not fair. There's no way that people wouldn't revolt for that,
Mistral's full of jerks. The people of Vale had a problem with this. Well, they had a problem with a lot of things Mistral and Mantle had been up to. Treatment of their citizens, use of slave labor, and their constant insistence that their way of life was what was best for everyone. Eventually, Mistral made the jump across the sea to the eastern coast of Samus.
And then the
small
war
islands
began.
and peninsulas in the area were perfect to establish a settlement. They were so perfect, in fact, that Vale had just begun settling the area themselves.
And thus conflict
I think we can all guess what happened next.
Yeah.
The King of Vale did everything he could to avoid
he looks pretty
conflict. Despite cries from his people, He insisted on sharing the land with the settlers from Mistral. But
Sharing the land.
to this day, no one knows who shot first. But what
One
began
of
as a
those.
riot between the two bands of settlers had suddenly become the first battle of the Great War. Mantle quickly came to Mistral's side. Battles were fought on both Sanus and
There's no way
Artemis
that,
soil.
like,
Villages were
Theo
lost to
could
both
handle
combat
both
and Grim. And it wasn't
Mantle
long before
and
Vacuo
them,
decided to join the party.
There, back.
Up to this point, Vacuo had done its best to stay out of the fight. Mantle and Mistral, having both already established a small presence in Vacuo territory years before, promised to leave them provided they didn't interfere. Soon, those talks evolved. It went from don't side with them to side with us and you'll be safe.
Bad
Vacuo
move, guys.
did
Bad
not
move.
much care for that. And they came to the conclusion that if Veo were to fall, there'd be no one left to stop Mistral and Mantle from conquering them next.
So
They
that
did
seems
what
right.
they considered to be the logical thing.
Yeah, that's
They
definitely the
drove
logical
Mantle
thing.
and Mistral out of Vacuo and told
Yeah,
Veo.
push them out. This is
I love their style.
Yeah, I love their style too.
So the war raged on. Grim attacks increased
Like how Mantle's
worldwide.
got like guns and
Battlefield, this meant a temporary
That doesn't seem
ceasefire in
fair.
order to deal with the hordes of monsters before returning to the fight at hand. Those left
Really?
miserable back at home, however, were often helpless with their best warriors away fighting for
stuff. Oh yeah.
good. A lot of settlements were lost during these years, and most were never reclaimed. Rations on food and dust were put into effect. Development of technology accelerated. Humans and faunas who fought
That's how it
alongside
usually
one
goes.
another
Technology
became closer.
advances with war.
Every day, mankind grew more and more efficient at destroying itself. But it all ended in the Vacuo campaign.
The vacuum
Mistral and
campaign.
Mantle knew that if they could take the dust mines of Vacuo, they would effectively cut off the supply of dust to their enemy. It was to be a final devastating blow to Vale and Vacuo. They were only half right. The King
The
of
king
Vale
has
personally
arrived.
led his army into
It's like some
battle
Lord of the Rings
alongside
kind of
soldiers
stuff
of
going
Vacuo
on.
and decimated the enemy forces. Crown atop his head and
Damn.
armed only with a sword and his scepter, he laid waste to countless men.
Damn, he's a badass
The sand
king.
was soaked red with blood. The Grim came in droves. It was the single deadliest
That makes
battle of
sense.
the war. And legends of the greatness and terror of the warrior king were born that day. Historians will tell you most of these stories are nothing but grandiose hyperbole. Unusually violent weather conditions, combined with Mantle's unfamiliarity with the desert combat,
I
are
could
likely
see why
what led to such a
people would
high
say
death
that.
count. But whatever the reasoning, everyone bowed to the King of Vale by the time it was over.
Bow to the
Great
king.
War had ended. The world was ready to live under the rule of Vale. But the king refused. The leaders
What?
of the four kingdoms met on the island of Vital.
Telling
And
you
it
now
was
that
there
if he
they
did that,
worked together to form a treaty and establish the
having
future
the
of
whole
Remnant.
world unified would be so much better.
Territories were redistributed, slavery
I think
was
that's
abolished,
kind of a mistake.
governments restructured, and the warrior king, the last king Vale would ever have, founded the Huntsman Academies and placed his
And
most
after that's
trusted
when the
followers
council
in
and
command
stuff
of each
came.
kingdom's school. He would teach the world to fight so long as we promised to fight for
I never noticed, but that
ourselves.
looks like a dragon.
Never
Or did I
against
notice that
ourselves.
before? I don't remember now that I think about it, but that's pretty crazy.
Seems like we haven't kept our end of the bargain.
Yeah, it does not seem like we kept that at all. Oh. Okay, let me pause this. Okay. So, yeah, that was a pretty good World of Remnant, honestly. It was pretty interesting learning about, Mistral and Mantle. Pretty much just horrible the way they changed. Mantle, obviously, we kind of knew that that's what happened and everything. But Mistral, whatever. We'll just make the surrounding territories, they can't do that. But, the central area, we can keep our, creativity and arts and everything. That's messed up. There's no way there were no revolts or rebellions coming out of that. Like, literally bull crap. And then all of a sudden when they went to war, I'm pretty sure most of those people of Mistral would not be okay with fighting a war for them, you know? It's probably like the people in the government in the central area are probably just like sipping like, you know, some, I don't know, anything, some wine and stuff, and just laughing like, ha ha ha, having fun in their, you know, beautiful area, having everyone else fight for them. That's probably how it happened, I bet. But of course, for some reason, they still fought for them. But then, of course, we have like Vale, to which Vale is badass. Sure, Vacuo's story was pretty cool, how they pushed him out and everything, like their style. But Vale, the king, the warrior king, dude, that part was pretty damn cool. Learning of him just like decimating people with a sword and a scepter. I wonder if he had like, you know, what his semblance, what was his semblance? Like, does he have magic or something? That's why he has a scepter? Or was it just kind of a fancy kind of scepter, you know, a cane kind of thing for a king or something like that? I don't know. Other than that, though, that would be cool to see that anime. That would be pretty damn awesome to see that battle anime. That's probably not going to happen, but it was cool to see and learn how all of this happened. And of course, to find out that it could have been where they would have all been willing to bow down to, you know, the King of Vale and bow down to live under everyone under Vale. That would have been awesome. Sure, I get what he did. I get what he went for with, you know, having them, you know, have peace between each other and everything, set a bunch of rules and everything, and, you know, create the huntsman schools. But if the whole world was under one banner, under one set of, you know, rules and everything that were just and all that kind of stuff, just like the, you know, King of Vale wanted, then everything wouldn't be the way it is now, where we have Mantle being overthrown and being turned to Atlas and all that kind of stuff going on there with the Schnee, you know, Dust Corporation, all that kind of stuff. It wouldn't have everyone pretty much separated to when, you know, everything went down. Everyone is separated at the moment. If they were under one banner, under Vale, things would not be like this. So it makes you think like, man, that could have went so much better if the King of Vale just thought about it and let everyone under his rule, and then he can do all those things that he wanted when, you know, coming to an agreement with everyone. He could still have a council of everyone from all the different locations. They could be like states and everything, and that would work, in my opinion, really well. But that's not how it happened, and that's how we come to the point where things are not going as well. Just like Crow said, looks like we did not, you know, keep our agreement to that bargain, to everything that agreement there. So yeah. But yeah, other than that, awesome World of Remnant. I can't wait to see what we're gonna learn about in the next one when there is a World of Remnant. I honestly super excited for the next chapter, obviously. But yeah, it's pretty much all I gotta say. Awesome World of Remnant. So hope you guys enjoyed this Anime Kingdom reaction. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. There's anything I missed and you know, want to comment on that as well, feel free to put those down in below. And yeah, if you did enjoy it, leave a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And that's all I gotta say, guys. So till next time, see you.